Okay, so let's be real. How many times have you hit that snooze button even after a good night's sleep?
Oh, yeah.
I used to think like chugging coffee was
Oh,
the
yeah.
only solution to morning grogginess, but guess what? Turns out there are ways to feel energized, like right away when you wake up, that don't even involve caffeine.
So true. We're going to deep dive into some pretty fascinating biohacks today, straight from this podcast, all about rewiring your brain for maximum energy in the morning.
And it all starts with what you do right when you open your eyes, you know? Most of us just grab our phones. Apparently, that's one of the worst things you can do for energy levels.
Yeah, that's true. When we wake up, our brains are in this state called theta wave activity.
Oh, wow.
It's like your brain is idling, ready to be programmed for the day.
So if we start scrolling through like social media or
Oh,
emails,
yeah,
we're priming our brains for distraction and reactivity, right?
exactly. Instead of like proactively setting our intentions of goals for the day, we're just letting everything else outside dictate our mental state.
So what's the first biohack to break free from that cycle?
Let's talk about light, specifically sunlight. I was surprised to learn just how much our energy levels are tied to light exposure. You see, our bodies run on a 24-hour clock called the circadian rhythm. It's not just about feeling sleepy or awake.
Yeah.
It controls hormone release, body temperature, even our metabolism.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
So if we're not getting enough natural light in the first 30 minutes after waking up,
yeah.
we're basically telling our bodies to stay in sleep mode.
Yeah, exactly. It's like hitting snooze on your entire system. No amount of caffeine can really fix that. The key is to get 5 to 10 minutes of direct sunlight as soon as you can.
Okay.
No sunglasses, no windows. It's all about those specific wavelengths of light hitting your eyes.
So there's actually a biological reason why we need to soak up those morning rays, not just because it feels nice.
Think about how sunlight hits your eyes. It's not just about brightness. Certain wavelengths of light actually signal to a part of your brain called the suprachiasmatic nucleus, or SCN. It's like your body's master clock. It tells it when to produce certain hormones.
Ah, okay.
So sunlight tells the SCN to shut down melatonin production. That's the hormone that makes us sleepy.
Okay.
And at the same time, it triggers the release of serotonin, which boosts mood and alertness.
Wow, so it's like a double whammy. No wonder people who get morning sunlight seem so much more energized. The podcast host even said they ditched coffee altogether just from this one habit.
It's amazing what a difference it could make. And if you wake up before sunrise or it's just a gloomy day,
Right.
a 10,000 lux light box can mimic the effect. Think of it like a shortcut to jumpstart your internal clock.
Okay, so we've tackled the light issue, but there's another sneaky energy drainer that many of us overlook. Dehydration. You know how we're supposed to drink like 8 glasses of water a day? Well, apparently we lose a whole liter just while we sleep. No wonder so many of us feel groggy in the morning.
Right, we often wake up in a state of dehydration without even realizing it. And it's not just about feeling thirsty.
Yeah.
Dehydration messes with the electrical signals in our brains. Think of electrolytes, like sodium and potassium, as the spark plugs for our neurons. Without enough of them, our thinking gets sluggish.
And to make matters worse, most of us reach for coffee first thing, which can dehydrate us even more. It's like a vicious cycle.
Exactly. What's fascinating is this biohacking podcast suggests flipping the script. Before you even think about coffee,
Oh,
try drinking 500 mils of water with a pinch of sea salt and a squeeze of lemon.
so we're talking about like a supercharged glass of water to kickstart our system before we even touch caffeine.
This rehydration solution is clever because it not only replenishes the water, but also the essential minerals like sodium, potassium, and magnesium that are vital for optimal bodily function. Plus, it helps flush out toxins and boost blood circulation, giving your brain that extra wake-up call.
They even mentioned an anecdote about a Navy SEAL who swore by hydration for peak performance, even in high-stress situations. Apparently, staying properly hydrated was crucial for making clear decisions under pressure. Who knew something as simple as water could have such a big impact?
The impact of electrolytes on cognitive function and physical performance is significant. Proper hydration is truly the foundation for optimal energy levels.
All right, ready for biohack number 3? This one might be a bit of a surprise because it involves ditching the coffee for a few minutes of movement instead.
I'm all ear.
Have you ever noticed how even a short walk can like clear your head? There's a reason for that. When you move, your brain gets flooded with dopamine, the motivation molecule. And get this, even 2 minutes of simple movements can boost those dopamine levels by 20 to 30%. That's more than some people get from their morning coffee.
It's fascinating how physical activity can have such a profound impact on our brain chemistry and energy levels.
The podcast suggests getting 30 to 60 seconds of movement right after you hydrate. They recommend things like jumping jacks, jump squats, spinal twists, or even a few yoga poses like forward folds, anything to get your blood flowing.
Makes sense. The physiological validities of movement are undeniable. It increases blood flow, oxygenation, and releases endorphins, all of which contribute to enhanced focus, creativity, and overall well-being.
And you know what? Top CEOs and athletes are already incorporating movement into their morning routines. They even mentioned that Steve Jobs would take long walks every morning to boost his creativity.
It's a testament to the power of incorporating movement into our daily routines, no matter how busy our lives may seem. It's about working with our natural rhythms rather than against them.
Okay, I have one more biohack to share. This one's a bit unconventional.
Let's hear it.
Prepare yourself. Ice water face dips.
Ice water face dips. That sounds intense.
Right. It might sound crazy, but submerging your face in ice water for like 15 seconds can activate the vagus nerve,
Okay.
reduce stress, and give you a jolt of energy comparable to an espresso shot. I know it sounds wild, but they swear by it in the biohacking world.
What's really interesting here is the connection to cold exposure therapy and its effects on the nervous system. Research suggests that it can have benefits for reducing inflammation, boosting the immune system, and enhancing mental resilience.
So it's not just about the immediate jolt, it's about training your nervous system to be more resilient.
Exactly. The human body is truly amazing, isn't it? There are so many ways to tap into its natural potential.
Okay, so to recap, we've got 4 powerful biohacks for boosting energy without relying on caffeine. Sunlight exposure, hydration with electrolytes, a quick burst of movement, and if you're feeling brave, an ice water face dip.
Quite the morning routine.
It really is, and it makes you wonder if these simple yet powerful techniques can have such a dramatic impact on our energy levels and mental clarity. What other possibilities exist for optimizing our daily routines and like unlocking our full potential?
It's a fascinating question. Maybe we've only just scratched the surface of what our bodies and minds are capable of.
So far, we've focused on boosting our energy in the morning, but what about maintaining that focus and well-being throughout the day?
That's a great point. In fact, there's a whole world of biohacking techniques and strategies out there designed to optimize not just our energy, but our sleep, stress levels, and even our mindset.
Well, I don't know about you, but I'm ready to deep dive into that.
It's incredible how often we underestimate the power of making like small adjustments to our daily routine. We tend to think we need these huge overhauls to see any real difference in our well-being, but like sometimes it's those subtle shifts that can have the most profound impact.
Absolutely. It's like we're conditioned to believe that big transformations require like drastic measures, but sometimes the most impactful changes come from those seemingly small tweaks to our habits. It's about understanding the nuances of our biology and leveraging that knowledge to optimize our performance, both physically and mentally.
Precisely. And that's what's so compelling about this whole biohacking approach. It's not about forcing our bodies into submission.
Right.
It's about working with our natural rhythms and systems to achieve peak performance and well-being.
It makes me think about, how much we emphasize productivity and maximizing output in today's world. But what if true productivity starts with like prioritizing our well-being rather than constantly pushing ourselves to the limit?
Yes, and while efficiency and achievement are certainly important, it's equally crucial to prioritize our well-being and create a foundation for sustainable energy and focus. It's about finding that sweet spot where we can perform at our best without burning ourselves out.
That makes a lot of sense. So if we're talking about sustainable energy and focus, we have to talk about sleep.
Oh, for sure.
It's something we all do. But how often do we actually prioritize getting quality sleep?
Sleep is truly the cornerstone of good health and optimal energy levels, yet it's often the first thing to go when we're feeling stressed or busy. We think we can function on minimal sleep, but in reality, we're just running on a deficit.
Yeah, it's almost like a badge of honor in our culture to say, "Oh, I only got 4 hours of sleep last night."
Right.
But the truth is, our bodies and minds need that time to repair, restore, and recharge.
Exactly. And when we consistently deprive ourselves of sleep, that deficit accumulates over time, leading to fatigue, decreased cognitive function, mood swings, and even a higher risk of serious health problems.
So what can we do to improve our sleep quality beyond just trying to get those 8 hours? Are there specific things we can do to optimize our sleep?
There are many simple yet effective strategies we can implement.
Okay.
First and foremost, consistency is key. Try to go to bed and wake up around the same time each day, even on weekends. This helps regulate your circadian rhythm, which we talked about earlier, and establishes a healthy sleep-wake cycle.
It's like setting our internal clock to the right time so our
Yes,
bodies know when to wind down and when to wake up.
exactly. Our bodies thrive on routine.
Okay.
What about the sleep environment itself?
Right.
Does that play a role?
You bet it does. Our bedrooms should be sanctuaries for sleep, cool, dark, and quiet.
Darkness is essential because it signals to our bodies that it's time to produce melatonin. The hormone that regulates our sleep-wake cycle. Even those tiny LED lights from our electronics can disrupt melatonin production, making it harder to fall asleep and stay asleep.
It's crazy how sensitive our bodies are to light. I've definitely noticed that putting my phone away an hour before bed helps me fall asleep more easily.
It's a simple change that can make a big difference. Engaging in relaxing activities like reading, taking a warm bath, or listening to calming music can also help signal to your body that it's time to wind down.
And what about diet? Does what we eat affect our sleep? I know like a heavy meal right before bed can make me feel restless.
Absolutely. What we eat can significantly impact our sleep quality. Avoid heavy meals close to bedtime, and try to limit your intake of caffeine and alcohol, especially in the evening.
Yeah, caffeine and alcohol before bed seem like obvious culprits, but I know I'm sometimes guilty of those late night snacks.
Even if it's not a heavy meal, eating a large snack too close to bedtime can disrupt your sleep as your body works to digest the food. It's all about creating a conducive environment and giving our bodies what they need to wind down and transition into a restful state.
Sleep is such a fundamental biological process, but it's so easy to overlook its importance in our busy lives.
When we prioritize sleep, we're essentially investing in our overall health and well-being. And it doesn't have to be complicated. Even small changes to our sleep routine and environment can have a ripple effect on our energy levels, mood, and cognitive function.
Okay, so we've covered sleep. That's a huge piece of the well-being puzzle. But what about stress? It feels like everyone's constantly stressed these days, myself included.
Stress is an inevitable part of life, but it's how we manage it that determines its impact on our overall well-being.
Yeah.
It's not about eliminating stress entirely, but rather developing healthy coping mechanisms to navigate those stressful situations.
That's a really good point. So it's not about avoiding stress altogether, but more about building up our resilience so we can handle it better.
Exactly. When we're chronically stressed, our bodies are constantly in that fight or flight mode, pumping out stress hormones like cortisol.
Yeah.
And that can lead to fatigue, irritability, difficulty concentrating, digestive issues, a whole host of other problems.
So what are some like effective ways to manage stress and bring our bodies back into balance?
Mindfulness practices like meditation and deep breathing have been shown to be incredibly effective for stress management. They help to calm our minds, focus on the present moment, and reduce feelings of anxiety.
And it's not just about like sitting on a cushion and chanting, right?
Oh, no, no.
Mindfulness can be incorporated into everyday activities.
Absolutely. We can practice mindfulness while walking, eating, or even doing household chores. It's about bringing awareness to the present moment and cultivating a sense of acceptance and non-judgment.
It's so easy to get, caught up in the hustle and bustle of life that we forget to simply pause and breathe. I know I'm guilty of that.
Taking even a few minutes each day to engage in mindful breathing can have a profound impact on our stress levels and overall sense of well-being. It's like hitting the reset button on our nervous system.
That's a great analogy. So mindfulness is a great tool, but what about other stress management techniques?
Exercise is a fantastic stress reliever.
Oh, yeah.
Physical activity releases endorphins, which have mood-boosting effects. It's also a great way to channel nervous energy and clear your head.
So it's not just about the physical benefits of exercise, but also the mental and emotional benefits. It's a way to like blow off steam and release pent-up tension.
Exactly. Exercise is a holistic approach to stress management. And what about spending time in nature? I know that for me, a walk in the park or a hike in the woods always helps me to de-stress.
I'm the same way. Nature has an incredibly calming and restorative effect. Being in nature helps to reduce stress hormones, lower blood pressure, and improve mood. It's like our bodies are naturally attuned to the rhythms of nature.
Precisely. We've evolved in nature, so it makes sense that spending time outdoors would be beneficial for our well-being. Even just looking at images of nature has been shown to have a calming effect.
It's interesting how many of these stress management techniques are so simple and accessible. You don't need a fancy gym membership or expensive equipment to experience the benefits.
It's true, we often overcomplicate things when it comes to self-care, But the truth is, many of the most effective strategies are within our reach. It's about prioritizing our well-being and making time for the things that nourish our minds and bodies.
So far, we've talked about sleep, stress, and biohacks for optimizing our energy.
Right.
What about the fuel we're putting into our bodies? Nutrition must play a big role in our overall well-being, too.
Absolutely. Nutrition is the foundation for everything. The food we eat provides the fuel our bodies need to function properly. It's not just about counting calories or following the latest fad diet. It's about making conscious choices that nourish our bodies and support our overall health.
So it's about choosing foods that are like rich in nutrients and provide sustained energy.
Yes,
That makes sense.
exactly. It's about moving away from those quick fixes that might give us a temporary energy boost, but ultimately leave us feeling drained and craving more.
So what are some like key principles of a healthy diet that supports energy levels and overall well-being?
Focus on whole, unprocessed foods like fruits, vegetables, whole grains, and lean proteins.
Okay.
These foods are packed with essential vitamins, minerals, and fiber that our bodies need to thrive.
Fiber is especially important for sustained energy, right? I know I feel much more like stable throughout the day when I'm eating plenty of fiber.
Yes, fiber helps to regulate blood sugar levels, preventing those energy crashes that can occur after consuming like sugary or processed foods.
So those sugary snacks and processed foods
Yeah,
might give us a quick burst of energy, but it's short-lived
yeah,
and often followed by a slump.
exactly. It's like burning a match versus a log. The match burns brightly but quickly, while the log provides sustained heat.
That's a great analogy. I'm going to remember that. So what are some specific foods that can help boost energy levels?
Complex carbohydrates like brown rice, quinoa, and oats provide sustained energy because they're digested slowly, which helps to keep blood sugar levels stable.
And protein is important too, right? I know I feel much more satisfied and energized after the meal that includes protein.
Absolutely. Protein helps to build and repair tissues, and it also provides a steady source of energy. Choose lean protein sources like chicken, fish, beans, and lentils.
And what about like healthy fats? I used to be afraid of fats, but I've learned that they're actually really important for our health.
Healthy fats are absolutely essential for brain function and hormone production. Include sources like avocado, nuts, seeds, and olive oil in your diet.
So it's all about balance and choosing a variety of nutrient-rich foods to like fuel our bodies.
Precisely. When we nourish our bodies with the nutrients they need, we're setting the foundation for sustained energy and optimal well-being.
We've talked about sleep, stress, and nutrition.
Right.
Now I think it's time to talk about exercise. It's not just about like physical fitness, it's also crucial for our mental and emotional health.
I completely agree. Exercise has so many benefits beyond just toning our muscles or losing weight. It can have a profound impact on our mood, energy levels, sleep quality, and even our cognitive function.
It's not just about like hitting the gym or running a marathon, but rather about incorporating movement into our daily lives in ways that feel good and sustainable.
Exactly. Even small amounts of physical activity can have a positive impact on our energy levels and mood. Something as simple as taking the stairs instead of the elevator or going for a walk during your lunch break can make a difference.
So every bit of movement counts.
Yeah,
It's about finding ways to like weave activity into our day rather than seeing it as this separate chore that we have to squeeze in.
precisely. Are there particular types of exercise that are better than others for boosting energy?
I was wondering that myself. It seems like there's so many options these days. It can be like overwhelming to know where to start.
Well, aerobic exercise, like running, swimming, or biking, is fantastic for cardiovascular health and increasing energy levels. It gets your heart pumping and your blood flowing, delivering oxygen and nutrients to your cells.
Plus, it's a great stress reliever. I always feel so much lighter and more clear-headed after a good run.
Exactly. Physical activity helps to release those feel-good endorphins, which have mood-boosting effects. What about strength training? Do you incorporate any strength training into your routine?
I try to. I know it's important for building muscle mass, which not only helps us look more toned, but also boosts metabolism and helps us burn more calories at rest.
Exactly. It's not just about aesthetics. Strength training helps to create a more efficient and resilient body, and it doesn't have to involve heavy weights or complicated machines. You can use your own body weight for resistance or use resistance bands or light weights at home.
I also love like yoga and Pilates for improving flexibility, balance, and posture. They're also great for reducing stress and promoting relaxation. I always feel so much more centered and grounded after a yoga class.
Those are fantastic options. It's all about finding activities that you enjoy and that fit into your lifestyle. Exercise shouldn't feel like a chore. It should be something you look forward to and that brings you joy.
You know, it's amazing how all of these aspects of well-being, sleep, stress management, nutrition, and exercise are so interconnected.
They absolutely are. When we prioritize one area, it positively impacts the others. They're like pieces of a puzzle that fit together to create a complete picture of health and well-being.
And when we neglect one area, it could have a ripple effect on the others. If we're not sleeping well, we're more likely to feel stressed and make poor food choices. And if we're not eating nutritious foods, we're less likely to have the energy to exercise. It's all connected.
It's all about creating a holistic approach to well-being and recognizing that every aspect of our lives is interconnected. We can't compartmentalize our health. We need to take a holistic approach that addresses all aspects of our well-being.
That's such an important message. So we've talked about taking care of our physical bodies.
Yes.
But what about our minds? Our mindset must play a huge role in our overall well-being, too.
Mindset is incredibly powerful. It shapes our thoughts, our beliefs, and ultimately our actions. It's not just about positive thinking, but rather about cultivating a growth mindset that embraces challenges and sees setbacks as opportunities for learning.
It's about having that can-do attitude and believing in our ability to grow and evolve.
Exactly. When we have a growth mindset, we're more resilient, we're more open to new experiences, and we're more likely to achieve our goals. It's about viewing challenges as opportunities for growth rather than obstacles to overcome.
So how can we cultivate a more positive and growth-oriented mindset? It seems like there's so much negativity in the world. How do we stay positive and focused on our goals?
One effective strategy is to practice gratitude. Take a few minutes each day to reflect on the things you're grateful for. It could be something as simple as a warm cup of coffee in the morning or a beautiful sunset.
Gratitude helps us to, shift our focus away from what's wrong and towards what's right in our lives. It's about appreciating the good, even when things are tough.
Precisely. And when we focus on the positive, we're more likely to experience positive relations and attract positive experiences into our lives. It's like we're creating an upward spiral of positivity.
What about negative self-talk? It seems like we're often our own worst critics. How can we, challenge those negative thoughts and create a more supportive inner dialogue?
It's true, we can be incredibly hard on ourselves, but we can learn to challenge those negative thoughts and replace them with more positive and empowering ones. It's about being mindful of our internal dialogue and choosing to focus on thoughts that serve us rather than sabotage us.
So it's about catching ourselves when we're being overly critical.
Yes.
And asking, is this thought really true? Is it helpful? What's a more positive way to look at this situation?
Exactly. And when we shift our inner dialogue, we shift our outer reality. Our thoughts create our reality. So if we want to change our lives, we need to start by changing our thoughts.
That's so powerful. Our thoughts really do shape our experiences. So we've talked about gratitude and challenging negative self-talk. What are some other strategies for cultivating a growth mindset?
Surround yourself with positive and supportive people. The people we spend time with have a profound impact on our thoughts and beliefs. It's like the saying goes, you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with.
That's so true. Our social circles can either lift us up or drag us down. It's important to choose to spend our time with people who inspire us, who challenge us to grow, and who believe in our potential.
Exactly. Choose your tribe wisely. And what about learning new things? Does that play a role in developing a growth mindset? I know I always feel more energized and engaged when I'm learning something new.
I agree. I love that feeling of expanding my knowledge and challenging myself to step outside my comfort zone.
When we're constantly learning and expanding our knowledge, we're keeping our brains active and engaged. It's not just about formal education, but about pursuing our interests and engaging in activities that stimulate our minds.
Learning should be a lifelong pursuit. It's about staying curious and open to new experiences and perspectives.
Precisely. Learning keeps us young at heart and helps us stay adaptable in an ever-changing world. What about stepping outside of our comfort zones? How does that play into developing a growth mindset?
That's so important for growth. I know it can be scary to step outside of what feels familiar and safe, but it's often where the greatest growth happens.
I agree. When we challenge ourselves to do things that make us uncomfortable, we're expanding our limits and building confidence. It's about embracing the unknown and trusting our ability to adapt and learn.
We've covered a lot of ground in this deep dive. We've talked about sleep, stress, nutrition, exercise, and mindset. It's really amazing how all of these pieces fit together to create a picture of holistic well-being.
A holistic approach to well-being recognizes that all aspects of our lives are interconnected. It's not just about focusing on one area in isolation, but rather about creating a synergistic approach that addresses all aspects of our well-being.
So it's not about striving for perfection in every area, but rather about recognizing that each area impacts the others
Right.
and finding balance in our lives.
Exactly. When we prioritize our physical, mental, emotional, and even spiritual health, we create a foundation for sustained energy, focus, and overall vitality. And it's not about perfection, it's about progress.
It's about recognizing that we're all, works in progress
Yeah,
and embracing the journey with all its ups and downs.
absolutely. Small, consistent changes over time can lead to significant transformations. It's about being patient with ourselves and celebrating our progress, no matter how small.
That's so important to celebrate those small wins
Oh, yeah.
and acknowledge, how far we've come. It's easy to get discouraged when we're focused on what we haven't achieved yet, but it's crucial to acknowledge our progress and give ourselves credit for the effort we're putting in.
I couldn't agree more. It's about approaching our well-being with a sense of curiosity, compassion, and a willingness to experiment. It's a journey of self-discovery and growth.
And it's a journey that we get to take at our own pace, in our own way.
Precisely. There's no right or wrong way to pursue well-being. It's about finding what works for you and honoring your individual needs and preferences.
It's fascinating how much our well-being is actually within our control. We often feel like we're at the mercy of our circumstances,
Yeah,
but we have more power than we realize to shape our health, our happiness, and our overall well-being.
I agree. It's about taking ownership of our well-being and making conscious choices that support our highest potential. We get to choose how we respond to challenges. We get to choose what we feed our bodies and minds, and we get to choose how we spend our time and energy.
So it's about like becoming aware of the choices we're making each day and asking ourselves, are these choices supporting my well-being or are they depleting it?
Exactly. And when we make those conscious choices, we create a ripple effect that extends beyond ourselves to our families, our communities, and the world around us.
Wow, that's amazing to think about. Our well-being isn't just about ourselves, it's about creating a more like vibrant and thriving world for everyone.
Absolutely. It's about recognizing our interconnectedness and understanding that when we take care of ourselves, we're also taking care of each other. We're contributing to a collective sense of well-being.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground today. We've talked about the importance of sleep, stress management, nutrition, exercise, mindset, and creating a holistic approach to well-being. Now let's bring it back to where we started with those biohacks for boosting energy in the morning.
It's fascinating how we often circle back to the basics. We can get so caught up in the complexities of life that we forget the foundational elements that contribute to our overall well-being.
It's true, and sometimes just revisiting those basics and making a few small tweaks can have a ripple effect on everything else. Remember those biohacks we talked about earlier?
Oh, yeah,
Sunlight, hydration, movement, they might seem simple on their own, but together they create this like powerful synergy that can really shift our energy levels.
absolutely. And that's a perfect example of how biohacking isn't about some, radical overhaul or depriving ourselves.
Yeah.
It's about understanding our natural rhythms and working with our bodies to optimize our health and well-being.
I love that. It's not about like fighting against ourselves, but about becoming more attuned to our bodies and what they need to thrive. It's like we're becoming our own science experiments in a way.
In a way, we are. And the best part is that it's a journey of self-discovery. There's no, one-size-fits-all approach.
Right.
It's about experimenting, listening to your body's feedback, and finding what works best for you.
I think that's what makes this whole approach so empowering. It's not about following someone else's rules, but about becoming the expert on your own body and what makes you feel your best.
Precisely. And as we learn more about ourselves and how our bodies work, we can make more informed choices that support our overall well-being.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground today, from those initial biohacks to the importance of sleep, stress management, nutrition, exercise, and mindset. It's really amazing how all of these pieces fit together to paint a picture of like holistic well-being.
It really highlights that interconnectedness we were talking about earlier. It's not about isolating one aspect of our health, but rather about recognizing that every choice we make, from what we eat to how we manage our stress, has a ripple effect on our overall well-being.
And it's not about striving for perfection.
Right.
It's about making progress one small step at a time.
Exactly. It's about those small, consistent changes that over time can lead to significant transformations.
I love that. It's not about overhauling our entire lives overnight, but about finding those small, sustainable shifts that
Right.
we can weave into our daily routines.
And celebrating those wins along the way. Every step towards greater well-being, no matter how small, is a step worth celebrating.
I couldn't agree more. It's about being kind to ourselves and recognizing that we're all on our own unique journeys.
And sometimes those journeys take, unexpected turns. We might hit roadblocks or face challenges that throw us off course. But it's about embracing those challenges as opportunities for um, growth and learning.
That's so important to remember that setbacks are a natural part of the process. It's not about avoiding them altogether, but about developing the resilience to bounce back and keep moving forward.
Precisely. And sometimes those setbacks can actually lead us to even greater insights and breakthroughs. They can help us to refine our approach and discover new strategies that we might not have considered otherwise.
So it's not about being afraid to fail, but about viewing those failures as stepping stones on our path to success.
I love that perspective. Failure is just feedback. It's an opportunity to learn and adjust our course.
I think that's a really empowering way to look at it. It takes the pressure off of needing to be perfect all the time and allows us to embrace the, messy,
Right?
imperfect journey of growth.
Absolutely. And when we release that need for perfection, we open ourselves up to new possibilities and experiences. We allow ourselves to be more creative, more innovative, and more resilient.
So as we wrap up this part of our deep dive, I'd love to hear your thoughts on where we go from here. We've explored the foundations of well-being,
Yeah.
but what are some of the more advanced biohacking techniques that people can explore to further optimize their health and performance?
That's a great question. And it really opens up a whole new world of possibilities. Remember how we talked about our bodies being these incredible complex systems? Well, biohacking, in a sense, is about understanding those systems and finding ways to, fine-tune them for optimal performance.
It's like we're taking control of our own dashboards,
Right.
adjusting the settings to maximize our energy, focus, and overall well-being.
Exactly. And just like with any complex machine, there are basic settings, and then there are more advanced options for those who really want to get under the hood and tinker.
Well, what are some of those advanced settings when it comes to biohacking? Where do we go from those foundational habits we discussed earlier?
Well, one area that's gaining a lot of attention is personalized nutrition. You know how we talked about the importance of eating whole, unprocessed foods?
Yeah.
Well, personalized nutrition takes that a step further by looking at your individual genetic makeup, your microbiome, and your lifestyle to determine the optimal foods and nutrients for your unique body.
That's fascinating. So it's like getting a custom tailored diet plan based on your specific needs and predispositions. No more guessing games about what your body actually needs to thrive.
Exactly. And there are now companies that offer DNA testing and analysis to provide personalized nutrition recommendations. It's really cutting edge stuff.
It makes you wonder what other amazing discoveries are out there waiting to be unlocked. We feels like we're just, scratching the surface of what's possible when it comes to optimizing our health and well-being.
I completely agree. It's a rapidly evolving field, and there are new breakthroughs happening all the time. Another area that's really exciting is the use of technology to track and monitor our biometrics. We now have wearable devices that can track everything from our sleep patterns to our heart rate variability, giving us valuable data that we can use to make informed decisions about our health.
So it's like having a personal health coach on your wrist,
Yeah,
providing real-time feedback on how your body's responding to different inputs. That's amazing. I know I personally love using my fitness tracker to monitor my sleep and activity levels. It's helped me to become so much more aware of my patterns and make adjustments where needed.
exactly. And that's the key, becoming more aware of our own internal data so we can make those small adjustments
Right.
that can have a big impact on our overall well-being.
It's like we're taking back control of our health rather than just passively accepting whatever comes our way. We're becoming active participants in our own, well-being.
I love that. It's about empowering ourselves with knowledge and tools to take charge of our health and create the lives we want.
And remember, it's not about chasing some elusive ideal of perfection.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
It's about progress, experimentation, and finding what works best for you.
Exactly. And it's about enjoying the journey. Well-being isn't a destination. It's a lifelong pursuit of growth, discovery, and connection.
I think that's a beautiful way to put it. It's not about reaching some endpoint, but about embracing the process and finding joy in the journey of taking care of ourselves.
So for all of you listening, remember, you are your own best health advocate. Don't be afraid to ask questions, do your research, and experiment with, different biohacking techniques to find what helps you feel your best.
And remember, you're not alone on this journey. There are incredible resources available, from books and podcasts to online communities and health professionals who can support you along the way.
Keep exploring, keep learning, and most importantly, keep sharing your discoveries. Because that we share our knowledge and support each other, we create a ripple effect that extends far beyond ourselves, contributing to a healthier, happier, and more vibrant world for all.
That's such an inspiring thought. So, as we wrap up this deep dive into biohacking and well being, we encourage you to take what you've learned today and start experimenting. Find what works for you, share your discoveries, and let's continue to learn and grow together.
Thank you for joining us on this incredible journey.
And until next time, stay curious, stay well, and keep diving deep.